Hi, I'm Arjun. I'm an incoming CS major at either Georgia Tech or UT Austin. And I'm someone who's really interested in data science, but also building this software that surrounds it. So this is ForgeQB. It's a quiz bowl, which is a trivia competition, adaptive learning app that I've talked a lot about in both my resume and my essay. Um, so let's get into more of how that works, what I mean by adaptive learning and all that. So here I can go ahead and select the adaptive learning mode, select my starting skill level in visual fine arts, right? And it'll go ahead and start reading me questions. And I can go ahead and throw in a guess. Oh, the correct answer was California. I got that wrong. And I can get an AI generated explanation, also AI generated flashcards, or I can make my own flashcards. And I can also save them. But to talk a bit more about the challenges I faced while building this, I was the primary backend engineer for ForgeQB, and it was my task to essentially figure out how this adaptive learning system was going to work. At first, I didn't want to make any assumptions when creating this, so I took an RL-based approach with the DQN and user answering simulation. For that, I found that the learning was really unstable and that my model was never able to, learn a policy at all, not even a good one, regardless of whether I implemented sparse or dense rewards or other kind of tuning. So I realized that was a kind of research question I could explore later on. So I built a kind of softmax based approach. I knew I wanted some kind of embedding and clustering, and then I wanted to just prioritize in my softmax distribution and sampling just whatever the user was worst at. And so I ended up experimenting with a lot of approaches, whether that be custom trained doc2vec, TF-IDF, just a pre-trained transformer. I also experimented with PCA, UMAP, and I was essentially able to, finally find something that worked and ship an MVP. So to talk a bit about how a common gap internship or gap year would help me greatly, I consider myself a builder. I'm not yet an engineer. What I mean by that is I've never worked in a production system where the people around me aren't just volunteers. They're actual engineers and I need to adapt my code to them. I want to be able to contribute to a kind of startup where I can design software around being able to debug in production, prioritize features, and I also want to gain the kind of mentorship from people who are in spots I see myself in 5 years. I want to be able to maintain my ML or models in production, be able to serve requests from thousands, if not millions of users. I want to be a part of a team that is essentially building the software I kind of want to be able to build. And I think joining Common Gap is the best place for me to do so.